Did you know that in a construction project, your standard coverage does not cover third party liability and it has to be purchased as an extension? We're going to talk about these various extensions besides third party liability in engineering insurance today. What's up? You're watching Tito Talks non-life insurance discussions once again with your favorite Tito Miguel, who loves to make non-life insurance discussions easier to understand for both agents and clients. Magandang Wednesday evening po sa ating lahat. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all doing fine. We're very, very happy to have you guys here with us today for a very special session of Tito Talks wherein we are now trying to build our library even more. And today, we're going to add another lesson to our engineering playlist because we are going to talk about CAR and EAR in further detail. Now, this lesson was also specially requested by one of our one of our subscribers. So, I wasn't able to catch your name though, but I did read your request. You asked for more details on CAR and EAR. I hope you enjoy this video. Now, in contrast to what we talked about before regarding CAR and EAR, I'm going to link the video right up here. You'll remember that I mentioned that CAR and EAR only cover up until the contract works. And when I say contract works, this is the basic coverage, the standard coverage of these lines. Meaning, there could be more requirements or there could be more insurance needs that can be answered by other extensions to the cover. Now, if you remember what I said about contract works, this only refers to the labor and to the parts and to the materials used in the construction project. Now, you'll also remember that I said you do not have coverage for the equipment being used as well as third-party liabilities, which we mentioned in the intro earlier on today. So for today, we're going to be talking about several different extensions of cover that you can get for CAR or EAR that can be combined with the standard policy to get you better coverage. Let's start with number one then, shall we? The first extension of coverage that you can get for an additional premium is, of course, what we mentioned earlier, the construction plant and equipment. Now, you may be confused here when I say the word plant. And because when you're talking about engineering or construction, and when you say plant, what comes to mind are probably large factories, large manufacturing plants where a lot of things get done, a lot of machines are chiming. But that's not exactly what the term construction plant means. When you say the term plant, when it comes to construction and engineering, plant refers to the heavy machinery and equipment being used during the project. This will include all your tools that are operated with an express purpose. This also includes your cranes, your air compressors, your concrete silos where your concrete is being mixed and stored as well. And you'll be surprised to know that under a standard CAR policy, even though it's an all-risk policy, they're not immediately covered. Meaning, you will have to pay for extra premiums to have your equipment covered, all the way down to the electrical hand tools that you use, your jackhammers, your forklifts, your electric saws, even your welding equipment has to be insured under this extension. The next one's pretty interesting because the next one is debris clearance. And let's pronounce that one more time again. Debris, not debris. So you've got a silent S there. Now, when we talk about debris, we're talking about the leftover materials or parts of the construction that are no longer useful to the project after an accident. Some accidents during construction projects involve pieces of the building or pieces of the construction project falling off or becoming detached and becoming damaged, leaving a lot of unused materials or rubble in their wake. So let's say a large section of the building which wasn't secured properly falls off and it lands on the ground. So when everything has been cleared out and the materials have been replaced, you're still left with debris. In short, or in Tagalog, kalat from the accident. Someone has to pay for the removal of these debris. They have to be carried out, they have to be cleaned out, they have to be evacuated. And sometimes these debris may be large enough to require additional machinery, additional manpower, additional labor, and even additional expertise in order for the materials to be effectively removed from the site. And therefore, this requires additional costs. Costs which, of course, can be covered under the debris removal extension of cover. Another interesting thing to note is that you can also have your temporary structures or your temporary works covered under another extension to the engineering policy. Now, when we say the term temporary works, these are, for lack of a better term, temporary. Temporary structures created to assist in the construction of the building, but once their purposes have been fulfilled, they will no longer be needed. Examples of these are makeshift waterways, especially when you're building a project near a body of water and the nearby people or the nearby public depend on that water system for their livelihoods or for their day-to-day activities. When you're creating a project, you may have to divert these waterways to different areas so that you can complete your project. These temporary waterworks have to be insured or need to be insured under this extension. But it's not just your waterworks or not just your additional waterways, your shutterings. When you say shutterings, these refer to wooden planks or planks that are being used to support various structures, especially when your building goes higher and higher. You're going to need additional support. You can also refer to your scaffoldings as these are also temporary structures as well. And it is important to note, since these are only temporary but still useful and important, they also require insurance to replace the materials and labor that goes into creating them in the first place. This last one is also extremely important, especially when you're working in an urbanized area. Third-party liability. As mentioned in the intro, you cannot get this as packaged in the standard engineering policy. It has to be purchased as an extension, meaning you'll have to pay additional premiums. Now, when we say third-party liability in engineering insurance, it means the same as third-party liability in any other line of business, such as motor car and property and business insurance. That means your project will be insured against liabilities you may incur when you damage other people, kill other people on accident, or damage other people's property in the course of you completing your project. This is especially important, again, when you work in highly urbanized areas wherein you have a lot of neighbors who could be affected by your project. But not just your neighbors. Passers-by along the area, regular commuters who go to work in the area in which you're constructing are also at risk from falling debris, from accidents in your work area, which could extend well beyond the area of your construction. Debris could fall on pedestrians passing by. Debris could fall on cars that are parked in a nearby parking area away from your construction site. These are possible risks that you also run when you're starting off your project, which means insuring your project against these things is also very, very important. Now, I hope you enjoyed this lesson as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. And if you like this type of content and require more lessons like this, please feel free to let me know what you feel. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, like the video, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as we love hearing from you and providing you with more relevant content. So once again, thank you so much for your time. This has been your favorite Tito Miguel, always saying, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.